It's that time of the season, the Grand National meeting, to many the greatest horse race of them all. But there is an undercard. Aintree is a 3-day festival, and we're going to kick off with the Friday afternoon. Before we start, Davy, thank you as always for joining us. I'm sure you're excited to get over to Liverpool. Flynn, thanks for jumping back on. Back by popular demand after your debut on the Cheltenham videos, and we appreciate your time there. And Bill Esdaile, as always, finding us some big prize winners. So no pressure, Bill. Okay, guys, let's get straight into it. Friday's brilliant days racing. 4 grade 1s and then the Topham, which is a grade 3. We'll get straight into the 220. A quick show of betting. We've got John Bond, the even money favourite, who would have been a brilliant winner of a Supreme if it wasn't for a total freak in front of him. El Fabio, who bypassed Cheltenham, is 3-1. First Street, who was second in the county, 9-2, and then with 10-1 Bar Surprise Package. Davey, I'm going to come to you first for a particular reason. We did a few previews, we did a few videos of the night in Mayfair, and you nailed your colours to the mast early of John Bon. And well, you were better than most of them. What did you make of the race? And how blown away? Are we getting carried away by Constitution Hill, or was he that good?
No, he was good. He broke the track record by, by a lot of, by 6 seconds. He was, when you put them together with the champion hurdle, he was nearly, 10 or 15 lengths in front of the filly. So he was very good. But it's a funny race now. It was kind of a false pace, if you know what I mean. And Constitution Hill stayed out of that. John Bon was involved in it. I think he still comes out with a lot of credit, but I do think Constitution Hill is very, very good. He was so impressive on his first couple of starts, and you were going on reputation in the yard, and really, it would just all weigh on how much you had on the reputation of the lads in the yard and what they thought of him. But God, he really put it together on the day. Now he was pretty awesome.
But you ride in this race. You ride Vina Ardanza for the boss for Gordon. One at Thurles, second at Nace. Up against it here, an each way shout at 16-1.
Yeah, he'd be ridden like an each way shout. He won in Thurles, but we were disappointed with him. And then we were really surprised by him in Nace. He was a little bit unlucky in a listed race, so we changed tactics with him, so he'd be ridden cold, and he'd ridden to come home, maybe to pick up a place or something like that. If he reproduces his Nace run, he's capable of doing that. If he reproduces his Thurles run, he's not capable of doing it.
And John Bon very much the one to beat for you.
Yeah, but it's a tricky race now. I do like that handicap form, and it was won by a very good horse in Stateman. So it's solid enough form, and the Nichols horse then obviously comes here fresh, which is always going to be a danger.
Yeah, Bill, give us the winner, please.
Well, before you say the winner, we've got to mention the weather, because the weather's going to play a part. If the rain comes, every drop will bring kind of El Fabiola into it. I mean, beginning of the week, you were looking at 2s on Jean Bon at 8-1 El Fabiola. They're now evens and 3s. I think Jean Bon will win. I think he's the class horse in the race. I think he spent most of the first part of the Supreme trying to upset Willie's other runner, and I think he'll be ridden as the best horse in the race, and I think he'll win. It's Jean Bon for me, and the rest are playing for places.
Flynn, you'll be running the pitch at Aintree. Where do all the girls find you for a selfie? What number pitch are we at Aintree?
So we bet on the middle rail. So come and see us bang in the middle of the rail. So myself, Hannah Baker, Lofty and Ben will be there. So if anyone wants a picture, I doubt it will be with me, but I shall be there. In terms of this race,
it'll be with Lofty. We all know that. Hannah's not expecting much attention.
Very true. In terms of this race, it's been the most interesting market of the kind of supporting races of the week. There was a Twitter account that came out and said that he had his sources that John Bon wasn't going to be coming out this week, and it was going to be released in his blog, which obviously didn't come to fruition, which was quite amusing. But that saw El Fabiola, like Bill just said, did open up around 7-1, came all the way into around 2-1. He's not too far off that price now, but John Bond obviously kind of drifted out, and he's not really come back into where he was. He did open up around 2-1, around 4-7. He's now even money. I think that's a fantastic price about John Bond. I would imagine that we're going to lay him, unfortunately, so I won't be backing him personally, but he's just miles clear of these. And when you think that Willie probably took his best ones to Cheltenham and this one didn't make it there, and John Bond and Constitution Hill were miles clear of Willie's. I know Dice Dynamo came down, but Constitution Hill was miles clear, and I did fancy John Bond to actually still keep second place there. So I would have John Bond miles clear of these. One to mention at a bigger price would be Orkham Risk, which is the Chris Gordon trained, obviously down south. I just think that if you take El Fabiolo out, and I think it's a little bit of a false price due to the trainer, and then First Street, who was well backed earlier in the week, but again, I just don't think he's up to this. I think that Orkham Risk could be an interesting each way shout around 10-1.
Okay, general consensus, John Bond looks fair value at even money. Davey, good luck with your ride, and Flynn, good luck with the selfies. The 255, we're getting to the Mile May Novice Chase. There's only 4, but what a race this is. This is a fantastic race. Down the card, we got Brave Man's Game, who obviously avoided Cheltenham in interesting fashion at the time, 5-4 favourite. L'Homme Presse, 6-4. Ahoy Signor, 9-2. 14-1. Fury Road, Davey, who you'll know all about. Listen, we'll come to you first on Fury Road. How is he, and your thoughts on his ability to win this race? And then who's the biggest danger in your opinion?
Yeah, he's in great form. He obviously missed Cheltenham late on. He had all his prep work done, so he was good to go. But I don't think the couple of weeks will inconvenience him. I think he's better fresh. I think he'll give a good account of himself, but I was impressed by L'Homme Presse, and if the rain comes, he's going to be very difficult to beat. As Bill said about the novice hurdle, the weather will play a big part in this as well. If the ground is soft, I think L'Homme Presse is going to be very hard to beat. I think if it's anywhere other than soft, it's a very interesting race. Brings everything back into it. Brave Man's Game, I do think, will be suited to a flat track. I think we'll see him at his best. As good as Brave Man's Game is, he's got everything in his favour. He's coming here fresh. He's got a flat left-handed track. Very hard to knock him now. For me, he's the one that carries the weight in this race, and he's the one they all have to beat.
Bill, one dart.
Well, I mean, just echoing what Davey just said.
Without knowing the weather quite yet.
No, I think the issue is going to be whether L'Homme Presse lines up, because if the rain doesn't come, I don't think they'll take their chance. I don't think, like Davey says, I don't think they fancy taking on Brave Man's Game on a sound surface, left-handed flat track. I think that's playing to his strength. So I would say, looking at the prices, I'd be with Brave Man's Game here because he's fresh and he's got everything in his favour. Look, I love L'Homme Presse, but he would definitely need the rain. Flynn,
you're there to take bets. You'll be taking him on, won't you?
We'll be taking on whichever one's at the head of the market. I think, again, another really interesting market, because if the ground turns up quick, then we might not get L'Homme Presse. If the ground turns up really slow, we might not get Brave Man's Game. Because he got pulled out of Cheltenham, Fury Road got pulled out of Cheltenham. So you could end up with a 2-runner here. I really hope that we don't. I would probably be throwing my dart at Brave Man's Game purely on the fact that he's been kept fresh. And I think that just plays right. I think that L'Homme Presse is a better horse and will be a better horse in time. But I think this could be one for Brave Man's Game. Just a quick question to Davey. What were your thoughts? Again, I don't want to bring this up a huge amount because I know you came down on Fruit to Len, but when you were coming to the second last, what were your thoughts in that race in the 3 miler at Cheltenham?
Yeah, I was just waiting to straighten up and just have one go at L'Homme Presse. I'd done everything reasonably well. I didn't jump fantastic, but I hadn't gone for everything with my horse, and my horse does find plenty off the bridle. So that's what I had in my armoury. What I would have got, it's hard to know. At the same time, the winner won comfortably. He won with his ears pricked. He's a good horse. He put in a good performance, good sound performance. It was an okay race. We jumped off really, really quick, and then it steadied back into a very normal kind of a novice chase. And we picked up plenty then from, 3/4 way down the hill. We were motoring. It was a good normal race. Nothing to stand out. But I to say I would have won, I couldn't. To say I was beaten, I couldn't. I was just there to. I still hadn't played my cards, but I would have definitely had finished second at worst.
Yeah, he was so well backed on the day as well. I think he was backed into 6-1, 11-2. So obviously starting off a big price and those non-runners coming out. Obviously short on the price there, but he was so well backed. But it was interesting to hear those horses, especially with long press going here.
Great unknown about horse racing. There's so many of those we could do down the years. We won't get into them, but listen, thanks for going through that. Now, colours to the mast, it looks like a probable clean sweep for Brave Man's Game for the you guys, I would have thought. But agree, let's wait to see what happens with the weather. Let's move on to the Marsh Chase, the grade 1, 2.5 miles. Down the card, we bet Fakir Dudery, strong and well punted, 6-4 favourite. There's 5-1 Bar Funnable, Civilo 5-1. The ever consistent Scowar 8s, 10s All Mankind, Captain Guinness, Master Fisher. It's basically, Bill, a race for horses that bypass Cheltenham, really, isn't it? Apart from the Venetia Williams horse who was gallant in defeat to an Ergamine. And if it's a race of horses that bypass Cheltenham and they all come there fresh, then Fakir Dudery is much the best of the lot, isn't he, on paper?
Yeah, I mean, he won the race last year. Very impressive. Missed Cheltenham, like you say. Won really well on background at Ascot. It's just whether that left its mark. But look, he's the obvious one, but he's at the head of the market. He'll see out the trip. There's plenty of these that don't necessarily see out the trip. I'm not sure Funabala Savola finds much late on over 2.5 miles, so he wouldn't be on my short list. One thing I was interested when I was going through the race, I couldn't believe that Scu Royale's never run over 2.5 before. I was convinced he had. And I was also surprised that he hasn't run at Aintree since 2016, and that was over hurdle. So he's never run over fences at Aintree. So there were lots of head scratches there. I think Fakir Dudery is the most likely winner, but if the rain stays away, I think that Mr. Fisher will run really well, and he'd get my vote each way, 9-10-1. But it's Fakir Dudery's to lose.
Davy? A lot of horses with big reputations, haven't they, that have achieved a lot, but not as much as they might have done earlier, they thought of earlier in their career.
Yeah, well, I accept Fakir Dudery.
Of course.
Yeah, he's the exception. He's a very, very good horse. I have a soft spot for Fisher, for Nicky Henderson's horse. I think just the most gorgeous looking horse, and he does appreciate a sound surface. And I'm always thinking that he's going to win a big one, but I think this is just too deep and competitive, and I think there's a very good horse in it that's fresh and has no excuses in Fakir Dudery's, and I think he's going to be very hard to beat. He loves Aintree. He's fresh, trip. Ground conditions are going to be fine for him. It's going to be an easy ground or safe ground at worst, and then if rain comes, it's going to be a huge plus to him again. So I just think Fakir Dudery's is solid, true and true.
I'm with you. I remember when we did a preview years ago, and Toby Laws, who was the assistant at the time, said that Mr. Fisher is without doubt the best looking horse in the yard. And I remember watching him as novice herd, and every year I was like, he's got a big one in him, he's got a big one in him, he's got a big one in him. And I've left it behind, shall we say. Flynn, I think this could be quite a good betting heat on the day. You?
I think the Fakir Dudery is just a good thing here, unfortunately. I think the only horse that could potentially
be him. They're so
is...
well grouped in behind, they will latch onto one or two each way, won't they?
I ideally hope so, because I'll definitely want to lay anything other than the favourite, unfortunately. But I echo what Bill said about the second favourite, Fernando Savola. I don't think he was 2.5 miles. I think he's a 2-miler these days. He's shown that this season earlier on that he's just not seen out his races over that trip, hence why they dropped him back. And then once you get beyond that, when you see the So Royale spurred in, I mean, I think you are struggling a little bit. St. Calvados burst the blood vessel last time. I'll be avoiding that one. Mr. Fisher was the only one potentially, but I think when you're looking for Mr. Fisher to get you out of trouble against Fakir Dudery, you are struggling, especially when he came fourth to him the last day. Fakir Dudery is just one with the class angle here, and he is the one that probably would be viewed as an even better horse if he didn't face Allaho every time he ran. So the fact that he's coming here fresh and he's avoided Allaho, I think he's probably the strongest favourite of the week.
So far, after a plethora of favourites at Cheltenham, it's not looking much better for us at Aintree. Let's move on to the Topham, because we bet 9 the field in the Topham, a great race in the racing calendar. Mr. Coffee, who's nothing but consistent as well, is the 9-1 favourite. 5-star Getaway for the all-conquering Christian Williams is in 11-1 chance. Royal Rendezvous 12, Senior Citizen 12, Fantastic Lady 14. I'll go down the card. Davy, I will come to you first for a quick word on Battle Over Doyen, if I can, please, and then just a sort of an overview on the race from your point of view.
Yeah, again, he's another one of my favourite horses in Gordon's. He's just the most outstanding horse to ride over a jump. He's just fantastic to jump, but he has a couple of issues that kind of leave him down late on in the races. In races, he has a tendency to get quite tired late on, and I'm just not sure. He would take the sight out of your eyes for the majority of the race, but his finish is not really strong. But you know, if it's the one race you'd love to ride him in, it's this one. This is the one race you'd love to ride Battle Over Doyen in. He's just an excellent jumper. He's in reasonably good form. He always tends to run a very good race, but just fails to, you know, gallop out through the line. And for that reason, then you'd just be kind of a little bit suspect of him. But the race itself is very, very difficult to actually pin your colours to the mast. Like, the one thing about Nicky Henderson has a tendency to win or run well in this race, and, you know, doesn't in the Grand National. So I'd be kind of aiming towards the Henderson runners in this. Okay,
and top of the bill is Mr. Coffee. Bill, would you be looking at the head of the market? This is your kind of race.
Yeah, I mean, 5 Star Getaway has been well found, but I think people are jumping on the Christian Williams bandwagon a week too late, probably. Mr. Coffee, I like him. I don't like what he does late on in his races. I think he finds ways to worry himself out of it. So I think he'll be in the frame, but I'm not sure he's one to trust. Senior Citizen was placed in the race last year. This has been the plan all the way along. He's probably the most solid of the front ones. But he's obviously well found too. I'd probably go deep with a couple here. I go Mac Totty, who won the Grand Sefton in November, is back to the same mark of 135 that he won the Grand Sefton off after 4 runs. There's a bit of lenient handicapping. I mean, he beat Senior Citizen that day, and he meets him on better terms. So I thought Mac Totty around 16s would run well. And there's an Irish runner who was placed 4th in the race last year, Snugsborough Hall. David knows he's getting on a bit, but he's 11-year-old, but he's a pound lower.
I think we all put that up on this Zoom last year in that race.
Yeah, well, I think he's a pound lower.
Didn't we, Davey?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
He's a pound lower than 12 months ago, and ran an okay race last time. I just love the horses that have come back here with experience, and he kind of didn't find much late on last time, but I thought him around 20-25 to 1 would go well. So I go Mac Totty each way, and I probably go him around 25s each way too.
Then just quickly, when you've got these short price favourites running, and then you bump into a 10 to 1 the field handicap, how does that affect trade on a pitch at a major race course?
Well, you tend to see more trade because people will reinvest.
More trade, lower stakes?
Yeah, exactly. The only issue you have is if you do your money on one of the other races with a short price like Fakir Do Derry, you know you're never going to get it back on the next race, and then it's a long uphill battle, sadly. Just while we're on the topic of this race, just want to read out one of our offers because it applies. So we're running all over the place here. So get up to £25 back as a free bet if your horse finishes out of the places but completes the course and is listed as a finisher. So that's going to apply to the Grand National, the Fox Hunters, and the Topham. So all 3 over the national fences will qualify for that offer. We've also got the pipped offer as well. So that applies to all Aintree races. So get up to £50 back as a free bet on all races at Aintree if you're second beaten half a length or less. So just a couple of offers there to get stuck into. In terms of this race, we have laid 5 Star Getaway earlier on in the week. As Bill just said, very well found in the market now. It was laid at around 16 to 1, is now around 11, 12 to 1. Mr. Coffee, I think he's a bit of a dodge pot. I'd be avoiding him at all costs, especially a favourite in a race like this. The one that I came down on was the other Henderson runner, which was Fantastic Lady. Doesn't have a huge amount of experience, but very unexposed. We're staying on 3rd last time to pick Dorhey. That was over at Kempton behind Miller's Bank as well, so not bad form. And I just thought that Fantastic Lady could take quite well to this test, but it wouldn't be one that I'd be getting involved in right at the front of the market anyway.
Perfect. Okay. I think that's Lofty I saw walking around in the mirror in the background. Glad to see he's getting his steps in. Right, 4:40. Let's quickly wrap up, please, because we're racing through and we've done well time-wise here. We've got Banbridge, who is the 11-4 favourite, is impressive winner of the Martin Pipe at the Festival. Gino Bello, who got well and truly put in his place early in the season at by Blazing Cow, but has bounced back, is a 6-1 chance. Skytastic for Sam Thomas, who's had a great season, 6s. Crystal Glory, 8, 10-1 bar. Bill, you first. Very, very brief selection, please.
Brief selection, stamina. They're all, plenty of these are stepping up in trip. One horse that will love the test, the 3-mile test, is Crystal Glory. Proper slogger, Northern train. Nicky Richards trains it, was second to Hillcrest last time on heavy ground, but just kept on galloping. And that might be what's required. And I thought 8-1 each way, Crystal Glory would do for me.
Perfect. Davy?
Yeah, I Bill took my choice. You're all right.
I haven't moved in 20 minutes. The lights have gone out. Don't worry, we have played the electricity, Bill. It's just, modern technology.
I was looking at it. They're all 130, 129, 134. So anything could actually win the race. It's not a strong race, and I'd agree with Bill on the Nicky Richards horse. He's and Nicky knows what it takes, and his horse in very good form. His horse ran really well in Aintree in air last week. So I'd be jumping on that one.
Perfect. And Flynn, a winner to end on, please.
So just a note with this race that it does tend to throw off a big price winner. Thistlecrack, I think, was around 25 when he won it. A Hoist in York was a big price, and he obviously went in last year beating Brave Man's Game. So it is one of those where the ones towards the front of the market, they've all been over 2.5. How are they going to get on over 3 miles? So Battle to Greatness of Ben Paulding was one I was going to throw in there around 20-1. Has only been over that 2.5 miles, but has one in heavy going and one going away. I think it's one to take a potential improver towards the lower end of the market compared to the front of the market. And from a bookmaking point of view, if you can take on any at the front of the market, you'll find any excuse to do so. So that's what I've done here.
Perfect. Right, guys, enjoy with your punting. Good luck. Davy riding with Vina and Dance. I wish you the best of luck on Friday. Girls, boys, whoever you are, go and find Flynn on the pitch. Bug him, get a better price out of him, and just poke Lofty for me. Guys, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Have a great Friday at Aintree.